The following podcast contains spoilers and explicit language. Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to Animated Anarchy, the show that takes a critical look at animated films of all kinds, and by the end we determine the good from the bad. Hello, and we are at the humble abode of...
Me. Michael. Ruocco.
I like how I caught you off guard with that.
I was staring
you were just
blankly
you were scratching your cheek and just kind of like did a double take to me. It's like, oh, it's my turn. It's like,
sorry.
Yeah. I'm Andrew Dickman,
and I'm Mike Ruocco.
And yeah, welcome to another Animated Anarchy. We're gonna talk about a direct-to-DVD feature
that I kind of just sort of discovered. Actually, no.
And yeah,
I have a little story behind
all
this.
right, yeah, tell me.
Our friend Erica mentioned this movie a while ago when we first started. Like, you should do that Brer Rabbit movie. And I said, okay. And I must have completely
Did you not know what
I knew what it was, but
okay.
I guess I just went out of my mind. And then it's a movie that I've seen on store shelves or like on recommended IMDb.
Yeah, because I haven't seen this. I don't really look at store shelves a whole lot in the DVD section. I probably should. Like every once in a while, it's like I see something pretty interesting that probably could be good fodder for the show. But then I think it's like, oh, we already got like a ton of stuff that we have to talk about still. But yeah, it's like you told me to look this up, and I immediately just bought a copy because it was
super cheap.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
It's like bargain bin price, like what, like $3 or $4?
This was made when
2006.
2006. Wow, that's like
it's a decade old.
Yeah, goodness.
But I somehow I was online and I just stumbled across it, like it was on YouTube.
Yeah, and
I just said, you know what? Let me just see what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And I kind of ended up watching the whole thing, and I'm like, this is really good.
Yeah,
like this is. I mean, I'm surprised. Like when you expect it to be a really crappy, just direct-to-video knockoffy movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You were like, what is this? And then I watch it, and I'm like, this is actually really good.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. For those of you who do not know
what we're talking about,
this is The Adventures of Brer Rabbit. And this is based on the Uncle Remus
stories of Brer Rabbit.
Which have kind of, in history, kind of brought in a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that they were famous stories, or famous American like fairy tale stories.
Yeah.
The Uncle Remus, the Joel Chandler Harris was the name. Uncle Remus, he wrote the Uncle Remus stories.
Right.
And they were really popular. Like, of course, Walt Disney grew up with them.
Yeah.
And then he did Song of the South, which, in a way, was probably the nail in the coffin for this thing, because since that point, since I guess the 1950s, 60s, 70s.
Let's talk about Song of the South for a minute, because it's a movie that I honestly. It was in theaters at one point when I was really young.
In the 80s.
In the 80s. And when I was really young, I saw it in the theaters. And this was before, like, Splash Mountain was a thing. And I guess they made, like, a re-release. And I was really intrigued as a kid by it because of the animated segments of it.
Which is the best part of the movie.
Which is, honestly, yes, the best part of it. And the rest is live action.
Yeah.
And it's... I remember watching it in the theater, and I saw all the animated segments of it. It was like the beginning of it was just like, the regular introducing Uncle Remus and this kid in a plantation. And
in post-Civil War South.
Yeah, and everything is handled pretty, very fantastical in a sense. It's not really following much of historical accuracy. You should do put it in blunt terms. But the animated segments were really fun, and then it goes back into the live action, which is the rest of the movie, and it made me fall asleep.
It's a boring movie.
It is
That's what people like. It's a movie that people have been fighting to put out on DVD. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are things about it that are kind of a little bit insensitive.
Yes,
and they definitely are. I mean,
listen. Well, we should mention that. Yeah, it is very. It's touchy because I don't think it was intentionally like.
Well, it bothered people even then. Like the NAACP wasn't happy about it then. But the thing about it is that if there's one major, despite what it is and what people see in it, its major sin is that it's really fucking boring. It's a boring movie.
Yeah.
Like all of us, like from an animation standpoint, a lot of us think that those animated segments from that movie, are some of the best stuff the Disney studio ever did. It's the best character animation. They're great characters. Brer Fox, Brer Rabbit, Brer Bear. Great characters and it's very
memorable
charming.
characters.
Memorable characters. But they've been swept under the rug for the last 25 years.
Yeah, it's a matter of like it's just a matter of comfort, I suppose.
Yeah, it's well, I mean,
because it is very discomforting seeing a lot of how things are handled in the movie.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's like I don't think it wasn't handled maliciously. It wasn't like these are memorable stories.
Yeah, they're memorable American
and Walt being from
he was from Missouri.
Missouri. It's like I
don't
think that kind of concept really comes up. We were watching the documentary of Walt Disney, and they were discussing this, and they were just saying like, Walt really just thought there was no big deal to it. It's like it's one of those things where it's like it's not thoughtlessness. It's more like he doesn't really understand. Like what is uncomfortable about it. He just knows that these are stories that he grew up with, and he wanted to tell a story through his movies, and well,
and those stories are really influential in terms of animation, where those characters are really the first American folklore anthropomorphic animal characters.
Yeah.
Like Brer Rabbit inspired characters like Bugs Bunny. Years later.
That's what I was thinking when we were watching this. I was like, it's kind of like a very low key Bugs Bunny in a sense. But yeah, let's get to the movie. And itself.
The thing about this movie is that it's completely animated.
Yeah.
There's no live action, because the thing is about Song of the South is that it's the Uncle Remus stories, but they're bridged by a lot of kind of newly written stuff to kind of and the Uncle Remus stories only take up maybe about a
15
third,
minutes,
like a third or 25% of the movie, and the rest is all this stuff that they wrote about Uncle Remus and this little boy.
The boy is dead.
The boy is
The boy is basically dead at the end of this movie.
This Bobby Driscoll character. I don't like those characters.
Yeah, they're not.
Luana Patton is a little girl and she's kind of cute, but there's nothing. The stories, the actual Uncle Remus stories, are the most interesting thing about the movie. Yeah. And the thing about this movie that I like is that it pretty much there is some bridging material, but it's so small, it's so short in comparison to the rest of the content that is really essentially the Uncle Remus stories.
Yeah,
that it's like this is where this movie does what Song of the South did wrong, in the sense of storytelling.
Yeah.
Where we really just want to hear the stories of Brer Rabbit. And
that's
the
most influential stuff in the world. So
and,
it's like, I mean, the Universal made The Adventures of Brer Rabbit, and it starts off with a modern family. A modern African-American family.
Her name is Janie.
We focus on Janie, who is the little girl. And it kind of actually threw me back because it starts off with like this weird cartoony...
Cute little
bunnies coming up, and then they hug each other, and then it immediately changes and it turns into a superhero thing. And then it changes the channel again, and it's something else. And I was like... What's going on? And then we pull back and it's a TV, and apparently Janie's brother has taken the remote, and she's like, can't do anything. Yeah, not fair. She can't do anything about it. Tough luck. She walks away. Then she goes to her mom and says like, "Oh, what do we have?" And it's like a tuna casserole. And then she tries to put her hand in a cookie jar, and then her mom says like, "I see you doing that. Don't ruin your dinner.
Why don't you go out and play?
Why don't you go out? Well, why don't you go on the internet or something?" She tries to go on the computer, and then her older sister is on it. And
there's no resolve. And the funny thing is, there's no resolve to that.
Yeah, there is no resolve to her.
It's only resolved.
She just shows up for like about 5 seconds, and then that's it.
Right. So the whole thing was just we're setting up that Janie is not getting what she wants.
Yes, and then she walks out into the woods. Outside of their humble home in suburbia.
Yeah.
Or so from the suburbs right into the woods. And then she hears like a voice of
Brer Fox
going and chasing Brer Rabbit, and they're chasing around each other, and there's like wacky antics to it, and then Brer Rabbit falls into a well, and then it goes into the story where it's like he's trying to trick the fox into bringing him up while he
traps Brer Fox,
and
he lures him with cat. He says, "Oh, there's catfish
down here. There's catfish down here. Why don't you get some catfish? It's really, really good."
All right, Brer Rabbit, I'm gonna get some catfish.
Oh, and we should also mention, like, okay, who voices the fox? D.L. Hughley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and who voices Brer Rabbit?
Nick Cannon.
The
entire cast is African American.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like that's kind of refreshing.
Good.
Honestly,
yeah, I'm glad.
I was like really happy about that because I thought like I thought there was going to be like some other kind of voice that would come out here that was like a little bit recognizable that we've all heard all the time. But no, it's like, I look on the cover, it's like Wayne Brady, Nick Cannon, Danny Glover, D.L. Hughley, Wanda Sykes, and amongst a slew of other voice actresses and actors that really kind of like brought this together. And it was a refreshing listen, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that kind of brings me to D.L. Hughley's Fox character, which I honestly don't think it fits the Fox. For some reason, I feel like the Fox should have had a deeper voice because it seemed to me like, you know, he's like a small character. It almost seemed like he could have benefited with a more aggressive voice.
Well, I was fine with the voice. It's a little strained.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought it was, I mean, it's better than, because, I mean, Brer Fox was in the Disney movie.
Right, yeah.
Was a little more, he was a little lower, he was still high pitched, but he was a lower timbre than this, particular actor.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, it's not terrible. I just thought
it just bugged you.
It just kind of bugged me because it was like, it didn't really seem very fitting, but still it was pretty good for what it is.
Yeah. So Brer Rabbit tricks Brer Fox into the well, and Janie's watching this whole time. And as she's gonna go save, because Brer Fox is at the bottom. Going,
yeah. The fox is like in the well, and Brer Rabbit is outside now.
Yeah, and he runs away.
He runs off, and the fox is like, "Help! Help! Get me out of the well!"
And Janie's about to save him, and then Brer Turtle, voiced by was it Danny Glover?
I think that's Danny Glover.
Yeah, he says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you. Leave him down there." And it's like
that made me laugh so much because I was like, "Wait, what?"
You don't want to. He says, "You don't want to mess with a hungry fox. Besides, he needs the bath anyway." And he says, "Come on, okay,
come on,"
and lures him away.
Takes her hand, like walk further in the woods, and the fox is like, "Help! Help! I need help!" And I was just thinking, it's like, I think the turtle wants to kill the fox.
But it's so funny, and I like the design of the turtle. That he's got like the red mask on it, like he's more of a water turtle.
Yeah,
I like the design, and the designs in the movie.
We were talking about this. It's like we really like it. We like the whole concept of bayou animals.
Like America Sings and Song of the South, and
there's an American charm to that kind of cast of animals.
Bayou animals, critters.
Yeah, critters.
Yeah, swamp critters. Swamp critters, pretty much.
And there's a lot of I like the designs of it.
These are great.
Yeah,
and the thing is, they're so unique because the thing is, they have to go as far away from the Disney movie as possible.
Right. Yeah.
So they use these, like Brer Fox is a unique design. He's wearing like a Southern gentleman coat, and he has a cane, which I think is really fun. And Brer Turtle looks really great. He has a little hat.
Yeah, he has like a fisherman's hat or something. Kind of. And then there's a Brer Wolf who's like the hick.
He's like a hick, and he's voiced by Wayne Brady.
Yeah, and the wolf is my favorite character in this because he's just like, I'm gonna eat you up.
He's kind of like a lesser, in your face Pete Puma.
Yeah,
where he just sort of is. He's a hick. He's kind of a dumb hick, but he's a funny character. But so then Janie and Brer Turtle now starts to regale stories to Janie about the adventures of Brer Rabbit,
which are the Uncle Remus stories.
Now we're getting into the juicy part of the movie.
Yeah, it's basically
very episodic. Also,
it's almost like the beginning of Song of the South, where it's just like the introduction to the characters that are going to tell the story,
right?
But in like a much better sense. It's like it's talking to the children now. It's like we should really point out that this film is it's really well done because the animation is fantastic.
Yeah.
For a direct to DVD movie.
It's great. It's done by Wang Films.
Yeah,
which
and
is the-
I'm familiar with these with this studio as well because they've done the animation for my short. Like
your Nick short.
Yeah, probably around the same time. Like
2005, 2006.
Yeah, something like that.
So and it's really top notch stuff. I mean, occasionally. But that's with any production. There's a couple little hiccups here and there.
Yeah, but for what it is, it's really well done. It's
the backgrounds are great.
It's not theatrical quality by any means, but it really. I was really impressed with how much movement there was,
and it's full anim. It's in the broad sense of the term. It's full animation.
Yeah, like when the characters are walking, it's real. They have character in their performance.
Yeah,
it's like when they're walking, it's like they have their own sort of movement that has really flowed well, and
there's some nuance too.
Yeah. It's really impressive. I thought it was honestly, I hate to say the word again, refreshing to see because you don't really get to see that a whole lot. Usually it's like the B team or something that is kind of like, we're doing whatever. Like when you watch the Tiny Toons episodes, it's like there's the one episode that is animated really well by TMS, and then
Wang Films, which is passable, and then you get like Glenn Kennedy, shut off the damn television. This is awful.
Yeah,
ACOM,
it's just everywhere.
Yeah. So we get into the main part of the story, and then he tells Brer Turtle tells the first story, which is how the animals came to Earth, and I guess it's based on the original story.
Yeah, and this is honestly, it's like I
probably the weekest story.
It is really weak because it kind of takes you out of the rest of it. For me, it's like I wouldn't. While it is the beginning of the story, it's like it's telling you the origin, how the animals came to Earth. It's like it's like a folk tale about how like how you would say like how the fox got his red tail or something.
How the giraffe got
his
long
this
neck.
is basically saying it's like how the animals came to Earth, and it's saying like the setting of the time, and the animals were in the sky with Sister Moon, and the Sister Moon was tired.
Well, the thing is, she's waning she's becoming a new moon.
Yeah.
And so when a new moon, she disappears.
Yeah.
For a day or two, and she's like, "I'm gonna go off," and then she tells Brer Rabbit to go down to Earth and tell the humans not to worry. I'll be gone, but I'll be back. And of course,
to Mr. Man.
Mr. Man. Brer Rabbit goes down to Earth and says, and he doesn't get the information right. And says, "Oh, she's going away, and she's not coming back."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, tell me," and then there's lack of communication.
Meanwhile, like Brer Rabbit's looking around. It's like they have like a big harvest. They have like food everywhere and vegetables. And
he's
stuff
distracted.
Like he's distracted by it. And then Mr. Man says like, "Well, tell Sister Moon
that we'll be fine down here. Go and have your rest." And he goes back up and he says, "Oh,
Magical flies back up."
And he jumps back. And then what happens is a lack of communication. Then Sister Moon gets angry, and Brer Rabbit fights with Sister Moon, leaves craters on her surface, and then they all just leave. He just convinces the animals to just let's go to Earth. There's food there.
There's food everywhere.
It's cool. There's nice grass down there.
Which is really funny because it's like there's a moment where Brer Fox crashes into a chicken coop that was already been on Earth, and then the chickens came out, and I was like, wait a minute. So if animals didn't come to Earth yet, why is there a chicken coop? Are chickens a vegetable?
Well, these are talking animals that come to Earth.
Okay. That was one of the big things at the beginning of this. Like the turtle says, like, I could always talk.
Yeah.
Like, who taught you to talk? My mom and dad. So did I.
Yeah, and then they come to Earth, and that now we get into the parts where it's really just Brer Rabbit fooling the other animals. And the first story after that is.
We forgot to mention that Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes plays.
She only has a couple lines, actually.
Yeah, very few lines, and she doesn't appear at any. They mention her in later stories, but they don't.
But she doesn't say anything else outside of that segment.
And so now the next story that Brer Turtle tells is of how Brer Rabbit tricks Brer Fox, Sister Buzzard, Brer Gator, and Brer Wolf.
Yeah.
So it's just
all in a
row, and it's funny because like he goes up to Brer Fox's roof, and there's a big chase, and it's a fun little chase, and then he nails Brer Fox's tail to the roof, like grotesquely nails
Yeah,
it.
it's a very itchy and scratchy moment.
Right. Very. Chasing around with a mallet and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he gets swooped up. Brer Rabbit gets swooped up by
Immediately
by Sister Buzzard.
Yes.
And he ends up pulling her tail feathers out and dropping her into the lake. And then, now we lead into probably the funniest part of this is Brer Gator, who's probably the most intimidating character out of all of them.
Yeah, he starts off like being like
Very
really aggressive. It's
smooth.
like, oh, I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take you to the end of the lake. I'm gonna eat your gizzard.
I hear that rabbit gizzards of mighty good eating. and then of course Brer Rabbit.
He says like, wait, you can't eat me because I forgot my gizzard at home.
It's very delicate. I keep it at home. And then it's a great little acting on the gator. He's just like, oh, I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, immediately he just like turns from this intimidating thing to just like, oh, really? Oh,
but like, don't worry, I'll go home and I'll bring my gizzards right back for you. He goes, oh, that's mighty neighborly of you.
It's like, that's mighty neighborly.
And then Brer Rabbit's just like, see you later, and leaves him high and dry.
And then the gator is like, but I wanted a gizzard. Oh, this is a bad day.
It's great. He's such a fun character.
That made me laugh.
And the problem is,
because it was so cute.
I really like Brer Gator, but now he doesn't really appear. He appears as a cameo here and there for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and he's the only one without clothes.
Yeah, he's the only naked character.
He's the naked animal of the group. I guess they don't question it.
Yeah, it's fine. He's in the water. You know what? Wet clothes. So, and then he meets Brer Wolf, and who's probably the most entertaining villain.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's voiced by Wayne Brady.
Yeah.
And he captures Brer Rabbit and says, I'm going to eat you raw. And he goes, well, aren't you forgetting something? You got to say grace. Oh, I done plumb forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, man. He's like, well, now put me...
This is the greatest part. And then it's like, he kneels down over a stump, and you hear, like, the organ from a church, like, in the background. It's just like... Don't tell my mama I didn't say grace before eating.
You won't tell my mama, will you, Brer Rabbit? Oh, of course not, Brer Wolf. And he's sitting there with his eyes closed, with his hands, and then Brer Rabbit runs away.
Goes off.
It's
and
great.
He's like, oh, man. No!
It's great.
The whole point of this is like he's tricking all these other
and the whole movie really is just it's very it's the story itself. The whole movie is very episodic.
Yeah,
which is just like
it's a bunch of vignettes,
little vignette stories, and then we have another story which is very similar. There's a couple stories that are right out of. I mean, if you've seen Song of the South, you would recognize them. We have Brer Rabbit getting caught and then tricking Brer into. Getting tied up in the tree.
Yeah.
He's getting paid $1 a minute or $1 an hour.
Yeah.
And then there's a laughing place.
The laughing place, yeah.
They do all that. And they also do, surprisingly, the Tar Baby.
Yeah.
Which is like, but the thing is, the great thing about it is that they don't call it the Tar Baby.
They just say baby.
They just say the baby, or they say.
Yeah, because Tar Baby is like a derogatory term.
It's a derogatory term. But other than that, there's a point in the middle of the movie where it becomes almost a linear story, where the animals have a big party.
Well, yeah. Well, before that, there's a part where they're at the lake, and they're all fishing. All the animals are fishing.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
And Brer Rabbit comes in, and all the other animals are fishing. There's Sister Mink, there's Brer Wolf, there's Brer Fox. They're all fishing together, and then it stops, and it goes back to Janie, and she says like, "Wait a minute, I thought the other animals wanted to eat each other."
It wasn't Brer. He's sitting right next to Brer Wolf. Didn't he just try to eat him for dinner?
It's like, well, sometimes you have to understand that this is just a.
You don't understand how animals work.
This is how animals work. Sometimes they want to eat each other. Sometimes they want to help each other. And then Janie's just like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, look, just go with it.
Yeah.
Like, that's all the explanation you're going to get.
Because there are the stories where it's like, wait, why is he friendly with Brer Bear or Brer Fox in this cartoon, in this story? Yeah. So it's just like, look, just go with it, all right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, then he tricks them. He tricks all of them. And then suddenly... we have
this is the trick where he says like Sister Moon is
scaring the fish away.
Scaring the fish in the lake because the reflection in the lake is
Sister Moon.
So it's like, yeah. So they're all trying to catch Sister Moon in the lake with a net, and meanwhile Brer Rabbit just stole all their fish.
Yeah.
And that's where his like a-holiness kind of comes in.
Through. He's a bit of a jerk.
Yeah, because in the next one, it's all of the animals have a party, but Brer Rabbit wasn't invited. So they're all at Brer Fox's place. Like, well, we should also say that this part is kind of like one of two songs in the movie.
There's really just two songs.
Yeah, there's only two songs. It's like
technically three songs.
Three, really?
Well, there's the.
You mean the credit song, right?
No, there's this song. There's a song where they all celebrate, and then there's the revenge song. And technically, there's a fourth song, which is Brer Wolf's song, but we'll get to that later.
Yes, that's right.
But they have a huge, and it's like a big like jumping party, and it's kind of like the music is like whatever.
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's like the ending of Despicable Me movies. Like like the whole
they're all jumping and
the whole like everyone's partying and having a good time, and each character has their moment of dancing.
Yeah,
and it's basically just to come across that they're all having a party.
Big house party.
The Brer Rabbit's not invited. And when Brer Rabbit comes up, he's knocking on the door, and then it immediately stops.
And the lights go out.
Lights go out, and it says, well, okay, if no one's home, and it turns around, it starts up again.
Yeah.
And it's like, it turns back, goes back again. It's pretty funny. But he stumbles back down the stairs, and he is in the mud now.
Yeah. But there's a whole moment where Brer Turtle is probably his closest friend.
Oh yeah.
Why didn't you invite Brer Rabbit?
Yeah.
And they're all giving their excuses. And at one point, like, he didn't let me eat him for supper. Like that's one of the excuses. That's one of their reasons. He stole
our fish. He pulled my tail.
He nailed my tail to a roof.
He nailed my tail to the roof. He wouldn't let me eat him. I was like thinking to myself, like, well, all right. I think that would be fair.
And
like a
Brer
fair
Gator's
argument.
like, he wouldn't let me have his gizzards.
Yeah.
So, but it's and then
it's like I'm really curious about the whole relationship of the animals, like how they survive with each other.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you ate him, he wouldn't be your friend, I guess.
Oh, well.
But hey, logic of the animals, just go with it.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
But then, so then Brer Rabbit falls in the mud and disguises himself as some weird jackalopian monster.
Yeah,
and scares them all
basically
away.
try to scare them off because he comes in, scares them all off. They all run off, and then it's like he's laughing about it, and it's like, that's what you get for not inviting me. And then he's just kind of like, he droops. He realizes that he's a jerk.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then we have the moment where it kind of goes on for a bit, where
it does
really
go on
sad,
a little too long.
where it's like he's just like walking through the forest, and it's all sad and lonely, and it's raining, and he's all dejected because he's an asshole.
It's like, okay, move on. We know you're sad.
Yeah.
And then now we have a moment where, I guess the next day, Brer Turtle is trying to convince Brer Wolf, well, come on, he's mischievous, just go with it. And he's like, but you've tried to eat him, and he's fine with it. And
Why don't you try to eat something else, like you?
And then he sings probably the greatest song in the movie. It's just him going, "Da-dip, turtle in the sack, da-dip, turtle in the sack." Great song.
It's like,
it goes on
in the sack,
in the sack,
in the sack.
And
so Brer Rabbit sees this, and he's like,
he tricks Brer Wolf with a very weird plan where he ties a rope to a rock, buries it, and pretends that it's a bull's tail.
Yeah, he pretends it's a bull. He like buries it, and he's pulling at it, and he's telling the wolf, there's a bull in there. He got so mad that
when he pawed the ground, he dug a hole.
He dug a hole so big that he buried himself, and now I'm trying to get him out to eat him.
Yeah,
because the wolf immediately says like hamburgers, and ribs, and
pot roast.
Ooh, I'm gonna get that bull.
So he drops the sack that has Brer Turtle in it.
Yeah,
and Brer Rabbit takes away, and then of course for some reason.
Oh, he ties
a red scarf
around the tail of the wolf, and I was wondering where they were going with that. It was like I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, bull. Wait, is he actually going to pull out a bull? Is there really a bull down there? Yeah. But then he pops it back, and he realizes it's the rock. But then all of a sudden, a bull comes out from behind him, and like.
Rams him
in because I guess the redness of the scarf on his tail.
But the thing is, they don't establish where you just suddenly a bull just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like
Like I could
it would have been understandable if you saw the bull in the pen
and then
nearby.
Brer
or
Rabbit
something.
lets him out.
Yeah,
which would made sense. But
would have made sense.
There is no moment like that.
No, there was. I think it was like there needed to be some editing in there.
Yeah. But suddenly now Brer Rabbit is now helping people, and so you have a montage to a song of him helping all the critters, and they like him again.
Yeah,
except for Brer Fox.
Yeah. Brer Fox hates him. He
just hates him through and through.
Yeah, he just hates him all.
And then,
oh yeah, there was a moment where it's like he's
trying to catch Brer Bear to eat him.
These animals just want to eat each other. They're all friendly with each other, go to parties, but in the end, it's like they just want to eat each other.
Yeah, it's so weird. So yeah,
I'm just thinking like, wait, he did want to eat the bear. The fox wanted to basically eat
the bear. And there's even a whole moment where you see like the naked bear in a pot or being basted.
Yes, that's what creeped me out about this, is that they actually made the suggestion that he wanted to eat the bear. Put him in a pot and then like roast him and cover him in gravy. And it was really disturbing actually. The thought of wanting to like a fox eating a bear. A bear is a really intimidating vicious creature.
Yeah.
To think that a fox wants to kill a bear and cook it,
Brer Fox knows that Brer Bear is a little dim.
Yeah, yeah.
So
well, everyone thinks he's an idiot. So because Brer Bear is he's lured by the smell of honey and it goes outside, and Brer Rabbit trips him and says like, "Wait, you don't want to go out there.
It's a trap.
It's a trap." And he shows Brer Fox ready to spring the trap.
So they trick Brer Fox, and he captures what he thinks is Brer Bear, but it's actually, I guess, Brer Lion.
Yes,
who's your
Brer
favorite.
Lion. He is my favorite background character because it's like.
He only appears in the background.
Yeah,
he doesn't talk.
He doesn't even talk. He'll show up once in a while, but he has this. He's like the rugged farmer.
He looks like a rugged farmer.
Yeah, and I just like the design of him because he's so kind of out of place because he's not in any way.
Same with Brer. There's a Brer Elephant also.
There is a Brer Elephant. You're right. Yeah, this is like a zoo animal.
Yeah.
That is just kind of maybe escaped the zoo and is now with the Bayou characters.
Yeah, I would have to read the stories again because I don't remember Brer Elephant or Brer Lion, but I assume they're in there.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, if you find them, let me know.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a Brer giraffe or something. So.
Brer marmoset.
Brer shark.
Brer orangutan. I don't know, what?
Brer orangutan. Yeah. A Brer three-toed sloth.
But so and then he gets chased off by the lion, and then Brer Rabbit. This is so funny. Brer Rabbit's like, he had all the friends in the world. He goes to bed, and then suddenly with an axe,
oh my
Brer
God,
Fox
yes.
just breaks into his house, breaks his door down, like in The Shining.
Here's Brer Foxy. And he just comes in, steals Brer Rabbit, ties him up, puts him on a pike, and he's about to take him
to roast him.
And this is where the familiarity comes in because it's the laughing place.
Yeah, the laughing place.
So it's like he basically tells us oh, you can't eat a sad rabbit. A sad rabbit's gonna be real. It's gonna make
get
you
scabies.
You're gonna get scabies or lupus.
Yeah. You list a bunch of things that happen if you eat and then Brer Fox finally is like, "All right, how am I gonna make you happy so I can eat you?"
I need to go to my laughing place.
And then he makes him walk.
Yeah, makes them
all
walk
night to get
all
to his
night
place.
over mountains and stuff like that, and they get to a tree which has a butthole on it. It's the butthole tree. It's not even I would understand if it was a knot hole or something where the bees were in there, but I guess they were trying to hide the fact that there was bees by making it like this pucker on the tree. I couldn't get over that. It was
you were laughing at this
because the bees shoot out of it, and it's still a pucker. It's so bad, but yeah, no, it's what he basically was trying to do is make the Brer Fox knock on the trees to get the bees out there
and chase them away,
and then there's the whole yeah.
And then meanwhile, while Brer Rabbit is escaping, he's still tied up. Brer Wolf comes and tries to get him. But Brer Rabbit tricks him into getting treasure in a log.
Yeah.
And Brer Wolf ties himself up
Yeah.
because that's what you need to do to get thin enough to get into the log to get the treasure. And Brer Rabbit knocks him into the lake where Brer Fox was
Brer
hiding
Fox
from
and
bees.
Brer Wolf meet up together, and then it's like, wait a minute, we have to work together.
I'm the horse's head. Why are you doing this again?
Here's what we're gonna do.
And fight 'em more.
And fight 'em more.
But then we get into a song where there's these bats singing a revenge song.
That's the revenge song. Yeah, the Brer Bats.
Of how it's the montage of them making the tar baby.
Yeah, this is where it goes into their big master plan of
Yeah.
getting him all sticky so they can capture him.
And then, this is the last story.
Yeah, that's the last story. And it it's
Just like in the movie.
Yeah.
Except instead of Brer Bear being in his place, it's Brer Wolf.
Yeah, because Brer Bear isn't really a bad character in this.
He's not. I mean, he's really. I think in the stories, he's not a bad character either. I mean,
No.
he can be bad.
I guess. Yeah.
But in this, I guess Brer Wolf was really one of the other really antagonistic characters.
Probably. I think it was probably better that way.
Well, I mean, in the Disney movie, there's a greater contrast to have a big lummox.
Yeah,
smart,
because Brer Bear is like big and fat, and he's like the Lemmy character or Lenny character.
Lenny, yeah.
And Brer
I'm gonna
Fox
knock his head clean off. Like
Yeah.
that's what they did in the Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, he's just
Yeah,
sort
he's
of
even
this-
in the section where it's like they're trying to find the laughing place, and he sticks his head into the tree.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing in here but bees.
He's in every story.
Yeah, he
but,
is.
But in at least in the Disney version, they kind of just limit it to because you see like Sister Possum and Brer Bullfrog and all those other characters in the Disney version, but they're background characters. They don't talk or make an appearance.
The main trio are the focus.
Yeah, but in this movie, everybody kind of gets a little bit of screen time.
Yeah.
But then they build this tar baby, and almost just like in the Disney movie, they say, "Okay, we caught him. Now what do? We can fricassee him. We can barbecue him." Or this, and then Brer Rabbit's like, you could do whatever you want, but just don't fling me into the briar patch. Mm-hmm. And he was born and raised in a briar patch. And of course, they decide to throw him in a briar
because
patch.
it's the worst. Because they tricked him into thinking that was the worst thing to do for him.
And that's the end of that story. And Brer Rabbit goes off, and then Janie and Brer Turtle walk back to
Where the
the
fox
well,
is in the
and
well.
he's out of the well, and he's like, "Yeah, very funny." And he goes up, he's like, "Have you seen Brer Rabbit?" And Brer Turtle's like, "No, he went that way." And Janie's like, how could you tell? I thought he was your friend. Why? And he's like, oh, I gave him the wrong
directions.
Yeah. Well, after a while, you would think Brer Fox would know.
Yeah, they're pretty. There's some pretty stupid characters in this. It's like you would think after a while, it's like they wouldn't trust anything that the turtle or the rabbit would say.
And then she finally.
But
she meets Brer Rabbit, and then the moral is, or not the moral, but
this is a conflicting message. Yeah, honestly,
he says,
in my opinion,
he says, well, how do you outsmart all these critters? Mm. And he goes, well, you trick them into.
Doing what
they think they want.
What they think
give them
they
what
want.
they think. Give them what they want, or give them what they think they want.
Yeah,
and you'll trick them, that's how you get them.
Yeah,
and then she does it to her
almost
brother.
Seems really malicious. It's like it's a very. It's
a very kind of double crossy kind of way.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you really want to get your way, trick other people into doing what you want.
Give them what they want
by giving them what they want.
Yeah.
And all right, so Janie goes back home, and this is where she goes onto the couch with her brother, who is still flicking.
And picking his ear.
Yeah,
he's doing brain surgery through his ear. Yeah. He's really digging it in there.
So Jenny is like, and it's like, what did you eat? And it's like, oh, I had nothing. Nothing. But I had some great food over there, and then somehow the brother thinks like, I want some of that.
You don't see the moment where the brother comes back and beats up his little sister. For tricking him.
Yeah, gives her an Indian burn, just like...
gives him a wet willy. And,
wet willy.
Gives her a loogie in the face. And then while it's going on, Brer Rabbit and Brer Turtle walk off in the distance. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like an hour and 10 minutes long. It's a pretty short movie.
Yeah.
But it's really, I mean, again, it's very entertaining.
Very conflicting message.
Yeah, conflicting message. But it does the Brer stories. I mean, I think
it does them justice.
I wish this would have been great if it was a TV series.
It would, yeah.
I would have loved to have seen a TV series of Brer Rabbit that was like this.
Yeah.
If this continued, because the interpretations of these characters, these designs, these matters, even the vocals are great. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed it. And it was one of those. It's kind of like Help I'm a Fish, where you think it's going to be a really crappy direct-to-video movie or something, and it ends up being pretty satisfying.
This is really, I would say that this is good to show to kids.
Definitely, it's a good introduction to the Brer Rabbit story.
It has like a very, it has a younger appeal to it in the fact that it's like, the pacing is very childlike. Like it's it's talking to kids. It's and I that doesn't detriment it in any way. It's still pretty entertaining, and I honestly think it's the best, one of the best interpretations of the Remus
outside the
stories.
Disney one, have there been any other interpretations of Brer Rabbit?
When I looked it up, there were a few, because when you look up Brer Rabbit, a couple other movies pop up, and I'm sure there has been several attempts at making the stories into an animated, like either feature or series. But there is still that, I guess, that discomfort or fear of a risk to do it because of the implications of the Song of the South.
They did this. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised they got away with doing this. But
yeah.
The thing is, I guess they must have really sold it well.
Yeah.
They must have really sold it on the basis that, listen, we're not doing any of the major kind of what might be derogatory.
We're gonna do it tasteful.
A tasteful version of Brer
it's
Rabbit.
very tasteful.
And it's pretty good.
And honestly, it's like it doesn't ruin it. It's honestly a very well made. It's a very well made interpretation.
And it was surprisingly. I mean, not surprisingly, but like in this case, don't judge a DVD by its cover.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this cover so many times, and I'm like, what is this thing? Mm-hmm. And of course, the cover always looks better than what is inside the movie is.
Yeah, sometimes it's like you can't really tell.
Right.
I mean, like.
But this was a real pleasant
especially
surprise.
when it's something that you haven't like. If it wasn't in a movie theater, you really wouldn't be able to trust it.
Like this
just
thing,
just on face value alone.
Like I remember seeing this. I think I saw maybe a preview of it on TV maybe once.
Right.
Or something like that. But I never, and then I saw it occasionally in stores, and I just kind of bypassed it. Like, I mean, that happens a lot. Like, even with Bone, like the Bone comics.
Right.
I would see it for years. I'm like, what is this Mickey Mouse white ghost?
What is this Mickey Mouse bullshit?
Yeah. And then my friends finally told me, oh, it's Bone. I think you would like it. And I read it, and I never would have done it otherwise unless someone showed it to me.
Right.
And this I just sort of stumbled on, and it was a pleasant surprise. So this is definitely I'm glad I found this and saw it. And I told you, I said, listen, we got it, because we had other shows lined up.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, we have to do this movie.
Yeah.
We should do
it.
And
I'm glad we did, because we watched this together. Like, you saw it before, but this was the first time that I've seen it.
I only saw this like a week ago.
Yeah, and I honestly, I agree with you. It's really well done. I don't really have that many complaints about it outside of there are probably some story elements that could have been worked a little better. I still don't really like the beginning portion of it with the Sister Moon thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that kind of, it's so disconnected to the rest of the story. It almost feels like it didn't really need to be there. It was just there because that's how the story starts.
It's a slow start to the movie.
Yeah.
It's a slow ease
and
into
it's
the
not
movie.
really necessary, because it's like they introduce a character named Mr. Man, and he just shows up. Like, well, he shows up a little bit in a later montage, but he's still not really necessary. It's one of those things where it's just like, nah, well, this is how the fairy tales start, so let's just put it in anyway for good measure.
Yeah.
But
great. Other than that, it's pretty solid all the way through.
The thing about Song of the South, it's like, and with a lot of Disney movies, when they take a fairy tale or a story, they kind of make it their own.
Right.
It's like they know the idea of the story. They know. They know what the story is about. They're just trying to interpret it in a way that will be good to tell an audience,
A broader audience
in less than an hour or an hour in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's like it kind of almost improves on it a little, because if you read a lot of fairy tales, like let Pinocchio, for example,
It's dark as hell.
that is the most dark. I never read that book before college, and when I read it, I was just like, my God, this is really what Pinocchio is?
He kills Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, he kills the cricket like almost immediately.
Say, Pinocchio!
He bites the hand off of the cat and spits it out. It's really creepy. And if you're trying to tell that story to an audience, you kind of have to take some liberties to it. You know, it's like you kind of have to make it your own.
Yeah.
You know,
this movie does it the right. This movie does it the right way.
This movie does it the right.
Like, even they do it in a way better than Disney does it.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way that, like, the best thing about that movie was the actual Ruocco Remus stories.
Yeah.
And everything else was just sort of filler bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I like Uncle Remus as a character, James Baskett played him.
Yeah.
Great actor, great role. He did a great job with it.
Right.
But I could give a rat's ass about those kids. I hate them.
I hate every other character in that movie.
I love the animation. It's super. I love the
Some
part
of the
at
best
the end.
stuff they've
The
done.
live action animation combination is great.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a very flawed movie.
Yeah.
That what's going to happen is, if this movie, I mean, I assume that Song of the South will come out in our lifetime. They'll finally release it in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But here's what's going to happen. It's going to come out and people are literally going to go, "What? That's it? This movie's boring as shit."
Yeah.
Why do we think that this was a big deal?
Yeah.
And then, but meanwhile, we have a movie right now like this Adventures of Brer Rabbit, which is a great first introduction to these characters.
Yeah.
I think everybody should check it out. And watch it.
If you have a chance, look it up. Adventures of Brer Rabbit. It's a very good. It's a very good direct to DVD movie.
Yeah, it's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I was really pleased by all the character designs, the animation involved. Storytelling was all right. It has its flaws, but
A pretty all right cast.
but overall it's very. I think kids would love it.
Everything is satisfaction.
Oh God. Well, that had to be said. Like so. Yeah. Zippity doo dah. Zippity doo dah. Yeah. That's our consensus about the Adventures of Brer Rabbit.
Yeah.
So with that said, please be directed to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/animatedanarchycast. This is the best way to get a hold of us if you would like to make any suggestions or add any commentary to our reviews. And if you have any questions about the show or whatever, that's the best way to go about it. We are also on iTunes and Stitcher, and if you can, please give us a good rating on those. It would be much appreciated and would help spread the word about our show, and it's always appreciated, so thank you so much. And also, we are on Patreon. Special minicast episodes will be given to patrons a month in advance. We have special little
Minicasts.
discussions of certain things, like we have a Kung Fu Panda 3 thing that we talk about, and we also
From now on, if we do new movies,
yeah, our new movie reviews will be minicast episodes, and we're going to provide those for patrons of a Patreon. So go to patreon.com/Andrew Dickman. That's under my name, yes. So, I couldn't fit Mike into it. I'm sorry.
no, I'm kidding.
It also helps provide it's like a tip jar that you could basically help provide for my work. Not only the podcast, but also animation that I do, my webcomic, and whatsoever. And so, yeah, please, if you can, donate, and that would be really great. And you can have a podcast delivered to your email, like a month.
And you'll be you'll be part of an exclusive group of people who get to hear these shows earlier than everybody else.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, with that said, Mike, Is there anything you'd like to add?
We're also on Twitter.
Yes.
I'm at a guy who draws on Twitter.
And I am at AWD Twit. And that's about it. So yeah. With that said, we will talk to you next time, and you will listen to us next time. Hopefully.
So help me.
So help me.
You will. All right. So that's.
So help me. So help me.
And cut.
Yeah. All right. Take care, guys.
See you around.
This is AWD, and that's Mike.
That's me. That's Andrew.
All right. See you around.
Bye.